What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be part 2 of our air suspension install. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll leave the link down in the description for you to check that out. But we already got the front suspension in, the rear suspension in, all the bags are in, all the fittings are kind of attached to the bag. I'll show you guys what we got so far. This is the rear here. Let's see if I can get some light. So we got the rear dampener in, we got the rear bag in, everything's bolted back up. Looks pretty good so far. So far the install is actually really easy. Got our front bag here, that's all in. We got our leader lines off to the side, so we're gonna figure out where we're gonna route those. Probably tuck them behind the wheel liner down through the bottom of the car, and then just run that to the trunk where we have our tank mounted. So I'll show you guys what I have mocked up so far. As you can see, we got the 5-gallon tank mounted towards the rear of the trunk, I guess the front of the trunk, and then we have our air management system. We got our tank line ran, we got our compressor sitting off to the side here with the line running into the compressor. This is all pretty much in the spot where it's going to sit for now. It's all going to get moved so that we can access the battery, which is under the trunk liner here. We have to run all of our air lines still, so we have to figure out where we're going to run that to each wheel well and hook that up to the bags. So there's still a lot to do. We also have all of the wiring harness here, so we have to figure out how we're going to run that from the air management system into the car for the controller, and then into the trunk for the battery. Since the battery is in the trunk, it shouldn't make running this stuff too hard. At least I hope so. Just have to figure out the best place to either cut or drill or whatever we need to do. But so far, install's been super easy. No issues at all. The instructions are very clear. They make everything easy. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the back and start running our air lines and getting all of our wiring done. Alright guys, so we just got some of the wiring set up. Just to give you a little idea, we got our power and ground here for the compressor. We got our power and ground here to the battery. We have our main power for the air distribution block. And then the controller wire that's going to run up into the cabin to control the different ride heights. So we got some of that laid out. We're going to start fishing that through the car and then jump onto the airline. Alright guys, we just finished running all of the air lines. It was pretty straightforward and simple. I'll show you what we got. As you can see in the trunk of the Supra here by the battery, there's these 2 holes that make running all of the air lines pretty easy. You just pop those out. You can run both lines that go to the rear wheel and then the front wheel. Same thing on this side. Runs all the way through. We've got our wiring tucked into this little compartment here. I think most of it's gonna sit here. Now that the air lines are ran, we are gonna jump on to the rest of the wiring. We have our leader lines here that's gonna go to each wheel well as well. We're gonna run these through those same holes into the exact wheel well, just like the airline. We got our controller wire that's going to probably just sit under the carpet and run through the center for now until we figure out a better spot for that. We got our power and ground for the battery. Just have to connect this fuse and then we're good to go. And then we got our compressor power. So we're just about there. We're going to get the rest of the wiring wrapped up, and then we'll see how this thing finally works. All right, guys, so it is the next day here. I didn't want to bore you with a bunch of wiring nonsense. I know that's like the most boring part, so I'll show you where we are. Basically what I did is I got everything back in the trunk, mocked everything up, just so I could test the entire system, make sure we don't have any leaks. I just have everything kind of sitting in here for right now, because I'm still not 100% sure where I want everything to sit. But basically where we're at is I got the compressor. I think I'm going to get a secondary compressor and not even mess around with one. Every system I've seen always runs two, so we'll have the one here and then the other one here. Probably have the tank sit there still, and then over on the side we have the distribution block. I think I might leave it there and then just run the air lines right into the trunk through that liner. I don't know, I'm still messing around with that idea, so I just have all the extra air hose that we got with the system hooked up to the tank into the block right now, just until I decide where I want everything to sit. But we're basically ready to start this thing up for the first time, make sure the compressor kicks on, tank fills up, we have no air leaks, and then if that's all good, we'll probably air this thing down and see what it looks like. So we're going to start this thing up, pull it out, make sure the compressor works, and then go from there. All right, so we just started the car, compressor kicked on, filled up completely. We're sitting at 150 pounds of pressure. You can maybe see there it is. So I'm gonna leave this thing aired up, make sure we don't have any air leaks anywhere. We'll let the tank sit with a full tank overnight. We'll make sure nothing's leaking. Basically, to move forward, we have to run this calibration mode, but I'm not going to do that because I don't have these height sensors installed yet. I did fill the bags up a little bit just to get this thing off the ground, but I'm going to try and mess around and preset my ride height and then preset like the show mode where it's slammed to the ground, and then we'll pull this thing out and maybe drop it down, show you guys what this thing looks like. But I can't really drive it because we're getting a whole bunch of chassis fault codes. I ordered the sensors. They should be here in a couple days, and then once those are installed, then we'll probably do the height sensors, and then test this thing out on the road. But until then, we're gonna make sure there's no air leaks, clean up the wiring in the back, get everything dialed in just the way we want it, and then see how this thing holds air and moves around and stuff. So I'm gonna mess around with this. We're gonna pull it out and see what it looks like. All right, guys, so I just got done messing around with the controller a little bit. I can't set presets until I run the calibration mode, and I can't really finish the calibration mode until I do the height sensors. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be repeating the process, and it's just not worth it. So what I did is I aired everything up just to kind of see where I want the ride height to be, and you can see how low that is. We might have to go a little bit higher just so we don't bottom out on everything, but that looks so sick. So much better aired down or on air. I'm also going to drop it to the ground just so you guys can see what it looks like. It sits pretty low, so I'm going to set this camera up on a tripod and then we'll air this thing down just so you guys can get a little bit of an idea of what this thing looks like. So hang on one sec. Alright guys, this is just going to give you a little idea what it looks like. Now, none of this is set, so none of it's going to be like standard, but this thing goes so much lower. It looks so sick. When this thing's set up in show mode, it's going to be so cool. We're not all the way down because they still have some of the air lines hanging down there. So we got to get under there, get all those air lines tucked up, get the rest of the sensor wires ran, and dial in the rest of the suspension. So there it is, guys. This thing looks absolutely insane. We got it basically aired down. It's not all the way down because I do still have some air lines hanging. I have to clean up where those are going to sit. I just wanted to wait till I got the sensor so I can finish running all the height sensor wires and everything else. But that's probably going to do it for this video. I have to cut it a little bit short. I wanted to try and wrap up the rest of the install in part 2, but I am leaving for Colorado in the next day, so I got a lot to do. I got to pack this trailer. I got to get the racer ready to go behind me. We're gonna be tearing up the mountains up there for 5 days. So when I get back, the sensor delete should be in. We'll get that in. We'll get the wiring finished, the height sensors installed, and then we'll get this thing on the road and see how it does. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I still have a ton of parts ordered for this build, so it's just gonna get crazier. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video for more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.